Morning, Sean. Marquez Stevenson, Jamison Crowder. I know Marquez farther along than Jamison. Do you have any updates in terms of possibly coming back for either of those receivers?
For Marquez or Jamison?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I mean, they're both working hard. I would not rule it out. We'll just see where it goes.
Okay. And then Shaq Lawson, I asked Leslie what he's noticed different about Shaq second stint from the first. And he mentioned he plays like every play is his last play. What have you noticed from Shaq?
Yeah, I would say the same. I mean, he doesn't take one thing for granted, one play for granted, to your point, to Leslie's point. And, I mean, here's a guy, right, that when we got here, I guess he was kind of labeled a certain way and hadn't maybe performed up to maybe what the expectations were of him. And I give him credit, when he was here the first go around, he really started to embrace how we were doing things and came around, and then went and left in free agency and got paid. And I think he went to Miami, and then from Miami went to Houston in that same year or that later that year. And then from there to the Jets. Obviously didn't last at those three places, comes back here and he's playing his best football again. And just the energy he gives us, he's just got so much, physical and mental toughness. I mean, you watch him out in practice and he's taped together out there and running around and then game day, he looks totally different. And just the competitor in him, I think John says a lot about who he is and how much this game means to him and how much his teammates mean to him.
You said the past couple of years were humbling for him and he felt he couldn't be himself. But when he was signed, he said one thing that unlocked him was you specifically telling him, be who you are. Why was that the initial message you wanted to give him?
Well, that's how we are with everyone, I'd like to believe, right? It's just be who they are. We have, like everyone, we have, certain expectations, right? But try and give guys a lot of space to be the best version of themselves. And you can only be the best version of yourself when you're, being yourself. And I think that's extremely powerful.
Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Morning, Sean. How you doing?
Good, Sal. How are you?
I'm okay. Good dog sitting today as usual.
Good luck with dog sitting.
I know. Look, I got a couple things real quick. Trey White obviously got his feet wet last week. Would you anticipate that you're going to increase the workload a bit this week, especially with this a division opponent on tap here? Yeah,
and whether it was a division opponent or not, Sal, we'd be trying to increase Trey's rep count. So we'll see where that goes as we move forward here.
And then as far as this New England defense, when you look at it, I mean, all these teams present different problems. Do you think this might be the best front to back defense that you're going to face all year, the way they're playing right now?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's been put together the right way. They've got guys up front that can handle the run by themselves at times. They've got physical linebackers that play downhill. And then they've got a group of cover guys in the back, let's just call it 7 even, that do multiple things and they match up and have different coverage packages and looks and disguises. So they do a great job.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sean.
Yep.
Hey, Sean, it's Jay with the Buffalo News. You're at the point on the calendar now where, for your rookies, their college season was kind of wrapping up. They maybe had a game or two left, depending on their bowl schedule. But, you look at your calendar, you still got 6 games and then hopefully postseason. Is this about the time of the year when you sort of talk about the rookie wall with them and are cognizant of trying to have them avoid that as best as possible?
Right. It is. We try and keep things as fresh as possible because of that. And just being aware of it on the front end, I think, is the first step. And, and then we have support staff, our development team, that tries to do as best job as they can of staying engaged with these players and making sure we meet their needs and everything they may be going through in life or in football. And to your point, the endurance of the season that's built up over time, over years of experience, and it doesn't happen that always early in their careers. So I think that's a big part of where we're at right now. And sometimes you can see it by the look in their eye, even too, of just where they're at and that they just need a break here.
Yeah. How would you, looking in their eyes then, how would you say that your rookies have done to this point? 11 games in, and what's your confidence level that they're going to be able to give you what you need here down the stretch then?
Yeah, well, we're confident in them. And I think the biggest thing is it used to be that rookies didn't play a lot in their first season, or maybe one or two did, maybe your highest pick or whatnot. In this case, most rookies are playing and contributing across the NFL, same as our team. And I think that's a good thing. And so we've got to do a good job of just, number one, getting them up to speed every week, keeping them fresh, trying to give them rest when we can give them rest, and then them taking ownership of that rest as well. And, when they're at home and not in the building with us. So that's a huge part of it. I think the biggest thing is just making sure that what we're asking of them is realistic this time of year, and that they're able enough for the job.
And then lastly on that, you sort of touched on it there, giving them rest when you decide that they need it. Kyer is a guy that you just did give some rest to, and I spoke with him yesterday, and he mentioned that he felt a lot better. It's tough for a young guy. They don't want to come out of the lineup. They want to prove themselves every day, every game. Do you feel like that was good for him, though, that you did sit him down for a couple of games there with that ankle, and that can be long-term beneficial for him?
Yeah, I think there is a silver lining in all of that, right? Where you can have a chance to, stand on the side, watch practice, watch a game or a couple of games in Kyra's situation with his injury, and have a chance to reset a little bit, freshen up, and come back stronger. I mean, I think you never want a player to get hurt, but it happens, and sometimes there's a silver lining in those situations.
Thanks, Sean.
Yep.
Hi, Sean. Talking to Ed a couple days ago, he said, with Von Down, who had his back, and some of the other defensive tackles during the season when they were injured, they plan to have his back and hold things together in defensive line over the next couple of weeks or whatever this looks like with Von's injury. What's your message to that whole group as they kind of trek forward without Von for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I mean, just like it would be to anyone who has to step in, it's next man up. And Von was brought here for a reason, but we also drafted AJ and Boogie and Greg for a reason as well. So now is their time and their opportunity to step up and to go for it. And the foundation that they are or should be for us as we continue to move forward, and Von certainly being a piece of that, is that foundation by those three is an important cornerstone of who we are and what we're trying to become as a defense and a front in this case.
Watching Mac Jones the last couple of weeks, it seemed that he's getting the ball out really quick. What challenges does that present at the second and third level to your secondary for a guy that's kind of operating that way and maybe like in a more confident space after some early season struggles?
Well, it's always a challenge. They present a challenge as a team, number one, and they're a really good football team. We're playing at their place. They do a great job, to your point, of getting the ball out. And if they're doing that, then we've got to get our hands up naturally there. They do a lot of good things offensively.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Hey, Sean, to follow up on Greg and AJ specifically, just with them back at practice this week, how have they looked so far?
Yeah, I think they're trending in a good direction. We had a chance to get out there yesterday and practice, a full practice, which is great. And I thought they both looked like they were heading in a good direction. We'll see a little bit more today, Catherine, just to know a little bit more as well.
And then when you mentioned those guys and Boogie as well, how they were drafted for a reason, I know coming into this season, you guys had all mentioned how you were hoping to see more out of them this year. I was wondering, is there a specific place for that group or for any of them where you have seen an uptick so far? I know it's mid-season, but just where has that growth been maybe most apparent?
Well, I think we'll get a better feel with Von out, as to how that goes this week. And I think the biggest thing is going to be, you have an opportunity, and what do you do with it? They're working hard in practice. And I think as you go back to training camp, you watched all three of those guys and their quality of play, their level of play improve. And that, Boogie and Greg are in their second year, and AJ's in, he's not now been here multiple years. So, you like what you see, and now it's a chance for them to really rise to the occasion, so to speak.
Thanks.
Hey, Sean, I was just curious. Obviously, this isn't the first week or time you guys are dealing with illnesses and all that, but what is that like keeping those guys integrated if they can't be at practice or can't be in the building? Is Zoom help with that? And the times you guys haven't been able to be in the building, how does that kind of work with keeping those guys up to speed for the week?
Yeah, it takes managing some of that across all the players that are going through those situations. Communication with Nate, our trainer, myself, and then out to the coaching staff. And then, you look at the actives and inactives and who can be up and who may not be able to be up, and who can come back. Some of the players have missed, multiple days this week, not just one day. So whereas other ones have missed one day. So it's just, it just adds a layer a little bit to the chess game you've got to play during the week, just internally, to make sure you got the right guys ready for the game.
This might be a weird question, but did COVID kind of help with that? Like you got experience kind of dealing with not being able to all be in the building and kind of have to get all of that across without being in one space?
Yeah, so what we've tried to do is Zoom where we can Zoom when they're healthy enough, even though they may be sent home because of illness, they're healthy enough to physically engage on a Zoom, at least watch it. And so we've tried to use that technology to get them at least mentally on board with what we're doing.